Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your girl JoJo, and I'm here with the late review for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 10 episode. Are we on episode 3 or 4? I'll have it right in the description, but child, I got a whole lot to say today. I'm about to get on y'all nerves. I got so much to say today about this show. I'm telling you, I got so much to say. And the reviews are late. I was in Barbados for my good friend's wife, Lorette, if you will. You guys know my friend had already gotten married, but where I want to park at? Sorry, I'm just getting home. She had already gotten married, but we still had her bachelorette celebration as scheduled. So we did that, and we had a wonderful time, and now I'm back home trying to catch up on everything that I did not get to do while I was there for the weekend. So let's talk about this damn Love and Marriage Huntsville. I done already cussed. All right, so we kicked the episode off with Nell and her slightly dusty son. The only reason he isn't fully dusty is because I think he do at least own his business, so we might could give him that, but I don't know. Them boys they raised is just a little dusty. They a little dusty. Because I didn't know he had additional children. For some reason, I thought this was his first child, but okay. She's going over to see him. He talking about how tired he has been, how stressed he has been. Got this baby, it's a newborn, and just so much work that goes into it, and he just so tired. And Nell says, well, maybe I can help you out. Maybe I can come over here. Not come over here. First, she says, maybe I can take the baby 2 to 3 days a week, give you a break. And he says, well, have you talked to Dad about that? And Nell was just like, talk to your daddy about what? These is my kids. And if I want to do something to help them out, if I want to help out with my grandchildren, I've been married to this man for over 20 years. He will understand that I want to help my son out with my grandbaby. And so she said that she could possibly even come over there 2 to 3 days a week. Maybe that'll be better. That way the baby will have a routine and be in their environment, and I ain't got to bother Chris with no baby in the house. What you think about that? And he's just like, man, that's something you're going to have to talk to Dad about. Because in the words of him, it seems to me that my mom got her own program, and she just kind of think this marriage run around her. So she need to talk to my daddy first. Oh, wait. Well, so we gonna get back to that. Actually, we can get to that right now. That way we can keep all the storylines together. Now, at first, I was on Nell's side. I thought it was a nice thing for her to be doing as a grandmother. You know, back in the day, sometimes people's mamas would come and stay. I remember my grandma would come and stay when my brother was born. I can't remember if she spent the night, but she definitely was over there almost every day, if I'm remembering right. She came over often, helped out with the baby, sat with the baby. So I do believe that is something that is very common in various communities. And I thought it was a nice thing that Nell was doing. Only to find out that this ain't this boy's first rodeo. And I think that was the name of the episode, but it had to do with something else. Was it? Child, I might be thinking about a different show. But either way, he has 2 or 3 other children. So when Chris is talking to him and just saying he ain't really cool with it, I mean, imagine if it was your wife. Imagine if it was your woman gone from the house 2 to 3 days out the week. When we had a situation happen before with one of y'all's kids. So I was like, wait, how many kids he got? I want to say he has 3 in total. And he said, you gonna have to eventually learn how to take some accountability and responsibility for your actions. Y'all gonna have to grow up. It can't be us all the time saving you, mama and daddy coming in, grabbing the kids, doing what need to be done for the children. And it's shaking us up. And he started shaking the table. Shout out to K. Michelle, saying that shook up our relationship, trying to make sure y'all was straight. We already done went through it raising y'all, but now y'all want us to do it again with y'all's children when y'all ain't had no business out here creating them. You wasn't doing what you had to do before, and now you got a brand new baby. And then I agree with Chris. I like the way he laid it out. He made it very plain. It seems to be some difficulty with Nell understanding that your adult children, eventually you got to let them hold them cups. You got to let them hold it. You got to let them hold their own cups. It could be water and all kind of stuff spilling out. They might even drop a few, but you're going to have to let them hold it eventually, because if you don't teach them any responsibility. I truly I'm not going to speak on anybody specifically, but I definitely know people who, if they would have had to hold their own, especially when it came to certain matters dealing with their children, they probably would not have had another, or at least not have had another as soon as they did. Or they would have been a different type of parent because they would have realized the magnitude of responsibility that was on them. But when it's always somebody saving the day, you don't really take parenting seriously, in my opinion. And I'm not talking about parents that receive help and are grateful for it. I'm talking about parents that receive bailouts all the time from various people. And so they just really don't take parenting seriously. They think everything is fine because somebody's always there to clean it up. So I appreciated what Chris said to him. I think that Nell may have made a misstep. I don't know if she has went against Chris a lot when it comes to like the child rearing of these adult children. I believe she has, just based on some things that have happened in earlier episodes. But yeah, she might want to listen to Chris when it comes to some of these things, because I do think that he might be on the ball with that. He don't argue back. The son does pretty much acknowledge what Chris is saying, and they come up with a plan for him to possibly talk to Martell. Martell got his kids 1 week on, 1 week off. Maybe he can help you come up with a plan. He can help you understand what works for him logistics wise. While I know that Martell has always been a hands-on father, in this regard, I do believe that Martell has the help of another woman as well as his mother. I don't know if Chris' son have that, and I don't know how much they are a part of the program either, but I'm willing to bet Arian's a big help, and I'm willing to bet his mom's a big help as well. So I don't know if he's doing that solo dolo all the time, but he has been a hands-on parent, so he can definitely give him, some tips. You don't want your business out there. Baby, we know your business. What are you talking about? Hush. We already know your business. The only thing that I liked about this scene is the fact that Kimmy looked like a grown woman. A grown, classy woman. And I really appreciated that. This is more of a look that I can see from her. I don't know if I like the outfit, but I know she looked mature, and I was into it. So I like that. They meet together so they could do some retail therapy. I said, Tisha, is this a friend that said you could film there? And Kimmy even said as soon as she walked in, we need that. We need more retail therapy. Let me tell you something. I don't know if you realize it or not, Tisha. Kimmy don't care for you. Now, Kimmy already spilled that tea several reunions back that y'all probably would not be friends if it wasn't for the Scott connection. But I just genuinely don't think Kimmy cares for Tisha. She tolerates her, and it shows every time she makes a remark to her. Y'all got to meet together at some point for filming. Why would you even make the remark oh, we need that? Child, she basically telling you this is a dumb idea. Why do you have me here? But of course, if you ask, Kimmy would be like, no, that's not what I was saying at all. I was just wondering why she chose that place when we could have went to Black, or we could have. She gonna make it seem like she wasn't trying to be, but yes, she was, because she don't elf with you like that. And I'm gonna show you even further during this conversation. So they get in there. Destiny comes in talking about she's sorry she missed Kimmy's dinner because she was on live selling products out of that beauty supply store, that scam of a beauty supply store where they sell dreams. She was on TikTok live selling some products. I was like, Destiny, please. I just don't believe in her business acumen. I'm sorry. She need to do something else. She looked really pretty in the face. I think that she would do great on hair care boxes and things of that nature. Model for hair care. That's what I think Destiny would be good at. All this other stuff she's trying to do. I feel like I'm being extra shady today. So they have a conversation after they talk about Destiny and her sales. That moves right into what were they talking about? The whole conversation was stupid anyway. None of these people are really friends, especially not the three of them. This was a very low-key, shady, nitpicking, passive-aggressive conversation. All things I can't stand, as you can hear it in my voice. Okay, I had to go back and look at my notes. So Kimmy made some comment about how they need to hang all together more often, and that leads right into them talking about Trisha's party and the situation with Nell and whether or not Tisha was, rolling up on Chris or not. And she was like, well, Nell tried to say that I was getting in his face. And Destiny turned around to Kimmy and was like, was she getting in his face? And Kimmy was like, well, I mean, she was headed that way. I said, she don't fool with you like that, Tisha. I mean, I know it's on camera, so it ain't no need in lying, but she don't even try. She don't even try. Like, yeah, she was stuttering and stammering. Maybe it kind of seemed like she tried to have your back, but she ain't got your back at all, Tisha. She want to be like everybody else. She was wrong and she rolled up in his face. That's what she did. They also talk about the transparency thing. And Kimmy believes that being transparent is being forthcoming with information that isn't necessarily already out there. Like, you're forthcoming before anybody has to ask you about it, which I can agree. I think that is a part of being transparent. But I think more of what Kimmy is talking about is maybe more vulnerability. I think when you are revealing things and being forthcoming about things that you just want people to know about because you want to share and you want to express how you feel, I think that's being more vulnerable. I know the two can go hand in hand, though. So I kind of agree with what she was saying. Tisha, who is slow, says in her confessional, maybe Nell can work on being more transparent. Like, I feel like I'm completely transparent. Nell can work on being more transparent. Maybe next time we together, she can give us the tea on her and Chris. And that's your damn problem right there. Being transparent ain't got nothing to do with getting the tea. That's not what being transparent is. Getting the tea. Do you know what tea is? Do people know what tea is? I feel like we've been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta so much. We think that, all these shady conversations and, read, shade, tea. We think that's a natural part of friendship. That's not a natural part of being friends. And getting the tea is gossip. Tea is information. Tea is usually somewhat salacious. Me sharing something with you as a friend is not getting the tea. Your duck ass. Anyway, so after they have that conversation, they start talking about apologies. And, Tisha makes the comment that it's not enough to just apologize. It needs to also come with changed behavior. And Destiny says, I was just telling Martell that. Would she say that for Tisha walk off, say that's her cue? And she asks, Tisha, are you going to be like this every time somebody in the group that you don't like is brought up? And Kimmy said, probably so. Again, I know it seemed like she's speaking up for you, but that's not. I don't care what nobody say. That is not what it is. I'm not reading it as that at all. I don't read that at all with Kimmy. I read that as, girl, you know how she is. I don't really fool with her either. But Tisha walks away, and Destiny ends up telling Kimmy what she was trying to say, and Kimmy tells her in regards to Tisha walking away, like, well, how would you feel? Like, how would you feel if somebody told you, I don't want you dealing with this person anymore, like a Martell, because he has hurt me and he said things about me, and you feel like you're in the middle. How do we move forward from that? Destiny said, I'm not in the middle. That's the thing. I ain't never been in the middle. I tell him about himself just like I would tell anybody else about themselves. I'm not in the middle, and I would not know y'all if it wasn't for Martell, which is a very true statement. I don't think Destiny is in the middle. If anything, she knew Martell first, so she would be loyal to her friend in that regard. She knew Martell, I think, before she knew Melody. So she would be being loyal to her friend. But Kimmy, it's funny that you and Tisha would think along those lines when y'all decided that y'all still wanted to hang and fool with Martell when y'all knew what he had done to Melody, and Melody said, he has hurt me. I don't really like, well, I don't know if Melody ever made them choose, but what she said was, I'm not trying to be around him. Don't put me in situations where I got to be around him. And y'all as couples basically said, well, we're used to you guys being together, and we should be able to just coexist. We should be able to still do the same. Y'all made it seem like they should still be able to be around each other, even though there had been a lot of hurt shared. Y'all should be able to be around the group because that's what we used to. Remember, y'all pulled that? Okay? Never forget. The internet never forgets, because we can just go pull the episode ups, okay? So, funny that we thinking like that these days. Now, they move on in the conversation. This conversation's so dumb. They move on to talk about, I don't even know what. I was trying to keep notes on this. Calm down. Let me calm down. I was trying to keep notes on the whole silly conversation, to be honest. But Destiny, she ain't going. She don't feel like she playing the middle. And as far as Nell, she feel like she already know Nell. And they was like, you definitely know Nell. She was almost your mother-in-law for a minute. And I don't know how it led into them talking about the wedding situation where they were at the vowel renewal, and Kimmy felt like Destiny was making googly eyes towards the godson. But it does get brought up, and Destiny was like, yes, Kimmy, and it was all your fault that it even turned into anything. And Kimmy was like, my fault? You was doing it. She was like, no, I was not. And you went back and told Nell, and you made it a big deal, and you made it this, you made it that. Kimmy was like, I didn't make it nothing. That is what you did. And she was just like, when I said something to you about it, you tried to hit me with the, I'm grown, the same thing that Destiny was doing then. Like, I'm grown, I'm dating, it shouldn't matter. Oh, God. This is so silly. Basically, no, Kimmy didn't have to say anything, but Destiny, you own the fact that you was doing too much. If you dating the son, why would you be making googly eyes at the godson? Well, we all know that man was fine. We all know we got eyes. Yeah. But we know how to play it cool around a man that's fine. You didn't, is the point. And so Kimmy, stirring up a little bit of the pot, she went and told Nell. Now that's what happened. But let's not act like you was right for looking at that godson like that. I forgot to mention earlier that Nell told her son that when Destiny reached out to her, she really didn't feel like she owed Destiny anything. Of course, in all regards, you gonna pick your son, right? I don't even think her and Destiny was all that cool. And I don't feel like Nell knew as early as people think she knew about this whole baby situation. But getting back to them, you know, they just low-key kind of shading each other, passively, aggressively snapping at each other. Kimmy got the nerve to say, like, we've all learned in this friend group to kind of get used to each other's. No, y'all have not. Y'all don't like each other, and it's very obvious. It's very clear. I don't know how y'all gonna pull this together. And Destiny is running scams over there on TikTok. I don't know if she running scams. Let me quit saying that. And Kimmy is trying to be the one to get the girls together. Tisha trying to be the it girl, and Destiny trying to be a mogul. Like, get off my television screen. Quick story time, but it relates. You know, back in the day, I had a computer science teacher, and I swear she used to come into the school, and it looked as if she went into the beauty shop every 2 weeks and said, let me get everything. And that's how I feel about Nell and her wigs. It seemed like she just go and be like, let me see. I kind of want 3 different things going on. I want a little bit of baby hair. I want a little bit of bang. I want a little bit of pin curl, a little French roll in the back. And then I want a front bang. And I want to be able to swoop it over to the side if I wear a bow. Like, it just be so many hairstyles in one. Like, that little tendril, she gonna always keep. This right here is a mild day. This mild with this light work, in the words of Rashida. But every time she come on screen, I'll be like, now, how did Nell, what kind of hairspray is involved in Nell putting these wigs in an updo? Anyway, Nell goes to meet up with Tisha. And all this conversation is them catching up on what happened on the birthday party. Tisha trying to make sure she don't go too far on either side of the fence. Tisha is saying that the energy that Nell and Tisha have with each other is not the energy she get from Tisha. She understands why Nell would be upset if she felt like Tisha was getting in Chris's face. However, that's just not something that she has seen in her vantage point from Tisha. Okay, but that's because Tisha ain't got it with you right now. If she did, well, she got it with you a little bit when she was on that couch, but you gave it right back and y'all moved on. But she doesn't want Nell and Tisha to have a problem. She wants them to get along, obviously, so all the girls can get together. And that's basically what their entire little dinner was about, was their issue and how that Nell is going to talk to Tisha about what happened. Now, I know I skipped over a part, and it's the part with Kimmy and Jalen. Jalen is not leaving. He found another job that is really going to cater to what he wants to do. He won't have to take a pay cut, and it's more, it's more aligned with his path. So he's not moving to Colorado. He's going to stay. Of course, Kimmy's happy about it. And then he ends up telling her that some of the stuff Maurice did worked. Some of the tough love worked. And, I think he said a lot of that to appease Maurice, but he's just a sweet child through and through, child. He can't even hurt the man's feelings right. It's all right, Jalen. I understand. So Nell and Tisha meet up at PJ's. I said, I can't believe y'all tried to cut up in PJ's. PJ's is one of my favorite coffee shops. I used to work in there, y'all. When I was unemployed, I used to be in PJ's every single day looking for a job. And then I ended up Child, I ended up on orders for a whole bunch of time. But baby, I was in that PJs every day trying to find something. Anyway, let me not get into all of that. But PJs got a special place in my heart. They used to let me sit there for hours ordering that one drink. I don't know why that lady came up to that table. They did that for filming. Normally, you got to go to the counter and order what you want. They ain't got no curbside service. They ain't coming up to your table like that taking no orders. Don't y'all cut up in one of my favorite places now. But anyway, Nell and Tisha meet up. It's not a productive conversation. When they started out, it starts out pretty even keel, but immediately Tisha is not owning anything that she did. So, and what Tisha do is she get into the semantics of it. So Marceau do this too. Nell says, I felt like you came at my husband. You was on 100, and you was on 100, and I got a text. I'm sorry. And Tisha says, well, I don't remember being on 100. I don't feel like I was on 100. Semantics. You was on something, right? And the reason why you keep saying you don't remember nothing is because you was on that dog liquor, and you was cutting up. You was hot. You probably don't even realize what was going on until the tape came out. When you be gone on that brown liquor, child. Your body be warm and you just be carrying on. I still don't know if you was on that Crown or if you was on gin. I ain't decided yet. But Nell was just like, okay, well, I felt like you were. I felt like you were on 100 and you was coming at my husband. And I just really did not appreciate that. And Tisha was just like, well, yeah, Marceau explained to me what was going on, but that didn't make sense to me. Who cares if it didn't make sense to you? Him and Marceau already discussed it as men's, plural. That's how your mama would say it, as men's. And so Tisha said it didn't make sense to her. And Chris is the one who brought my husband up. And Nell said, well, you know what? Your husband actually has brought my husband's name up first. Here come Tisha, get the stuttering and stammering. When you throw off her point, she can't get it together. She get to moving her hands. The way Tisha want to be that girl so bad. The way she walked in the PJs, I'm like, girl, this PJs. I used to come in there in my workout clothes. Relax. So anyway, she was like, what you mean he brought your name up? I don't recall him bringing your husband's name. When did he bring your husband's name up first? So we flash back to actually, no. Nell wasn't even the one who brought up the situation in Atlanta. Tisha is the one who brought up the situation in Atlanta. She was just like, well, I don't recall my husband having anything to say about your husband first. It's actually your husband that's been saying stuff and starting all of this, just like the situation in Atlanta. And Nell was like, hell, not the situation in Atlanta again, but your husband did speak on my husband when it comes to that situation in Atlanta. So let me clear that up. Tisha brought up the situation in Atlanta first, and how Marceau said he met up with a friend in Atlanta, and then eventually, after beating around the bush, said he met up with Chris Fletcher, right? And so that is when Nell is just like, yeah, your husband brought my husband up and tried to make it seem like something else. And she was just like, well, he brought your husband name up because according to him, Chris said he had to take a picture while they was in Atlanta so that you would know where he was and so you would believe where he was. And Nell was like, what? I was in Atlanta. Oh, were you in Atlanta? Well, I'm just telling you, like, he had to take a picture because he said he had to prove that to you. That's what he told my husband. And Nell was like, I don't believe none of that. And it probably did not happen that way. Tisha does stuff like this to throw you off track. She used to do the same thing with other people. Bring up something their husband did, or bring up something that she heard about them. Bring up something salacious so she could throw them off towards the discussion we having. The discussion we having is about you rolling up on my husband. We ain't talking about Atlanta. We ain't supposed to be. We not supposed to be talking about Atlanta. We not supposed to be talking about what Marceau said. We not supposed to be talking about no pictures that Chris took. We're supposed to be talking about you rolling up on my husband and you bringing up everything else because you want to talk about you rolling up on my husband. Talk about you rolling up on that lady husband. Tisha don't want to talk about that. She don't want to own that because she said she felt like she wasn't on that. And Nell was like, okay, but what I'm saying is my husband did not start all of this. In my opinion, your husband did say these things about my husband and tried to make it seem a certain kind of way. Tisha don't agree with none of that. She don't believe that Marceau brought him up first. And if he did, that she don't recall none of that. She always don't recall. She don't remember. Then she tell Nell to calm down. She yelling, and Nell was like, I'm not yelling. Like, Nell had got more passionate in her tone, but she really was not yelling. And she was like, this is what Tisha does. She'll have you questioning yourself, thinking, am I being angry? Am I yelling? No, Nell, you not. If anybody yelling out here, baby, it's me. You ain't yelling. Tisha said, I mean, do you want to have a conversation? Nell is like, do you? And she said, okay, well, see, you're not gonna want to have a conversation. You don't want to have a conversation. You don't want to own stuff. You don't want to. Tisha, please get up in that pleather leather suit and take your ass home to your compound. That's not built. Go home. Go home to that one bathroom that y'all sharing or whatever y'all got going on at that house. Go to Black, go wherever you can, because this conversation was annoying. I don't know why I'm heated. I don't like when people try to make it seem like I'm doing something that I'm not doing to make me look like an aggressor. I'm not being aggressive towards you. I'm having a conversation, and instead of addressing me directly about what I'm saying, you bringing up other stuff. Ooh, child. Let me not be giving my... I'd love Marriage Huntsville to have my pressure up every week, huh? Probably was a bad idea. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to see y'all for the next one. Get in this house. Bye.